And a very good evening and welcome to the Saturday preview with myself, David Massey, coming to you at just after 9:30 on a Friday evening. Was going to be leaving the video till tomorrow morning, but I'm going to be so pushed for time, I think, in the morning to do everything I want to do. I'm at Market Rasen tomorrow working, and we're going to be, it's a 1:30 start there, so we're going to be leaving early. And I think what I want to do is do the video tonight, go through 4 or 5 races of interest. There's a bit to get through, and then have another look in the morning. I think once the rain has been through and we know a bit more about what rain we're getting and where. We already know it's been at Newbury and they're expecting more, so that's fairly easy. We know what's happening there. Market Rasen, the rain, I am reliably informed from the very lovely Tracy from Rasen. You can give her a follow on Twitter at Tracy with an E from Rasen. It's always good to know people in places so that when the racecourse doesn't respond to you, I asked Market Rasen, have you had any rain? Nothing, blank me. You know, it's always good to have people in places so that you can ask them, you know, what's the weather been like there, that sort of thing. And Tracy's one of those, she loves the racing and she'll be there tomorrow. So by all means, give her a follow if you're on Twitter. But she says to me, it started raining at 6, eased off again about an hour later, and then started again around about 8:30. So it does look like they've got more to come through the night. So with that in mind, I think I'm sort of playing on Market Rasen probably being good to soft. Maybe at best. I mean, I don't think they're expecting 4 to 6 mil, but by the sound of it, they might get a bit more than that. So it's a tricky one. But as I say, I'll look at that in the morning. Let's see what we've had, and then I'll put my selections up, you know, when I've sort of finalised a bit more. We'll look at Rasen first, actually, the 210, which is one of the 2 sort of big races at Rasen. This one being the summer handicap hurdle, Betway summer handicap hurdle, listed race, 2 mile. I've seen a couple of lazy comments tonight from people that should know better about, you know, they expect this should be run at a really good pace. I don't think it will. I'm not convinced it'll be run at a really good pace. In fact, I was genuinely struggling to find anything that would want to make it until you get down to the bottom. And Chef de Troupe of Dr. Newlands, who's a winner of his last 2, one of those on good to soft ground as well at Southwell. It wasn't much of a race. In fact, neither of the races has been much of a race. That's never a massive worry with me with Dr. Newland, because he tends to know what he's got and what he's aiming them at. Having said that, Chef de Troupe's pound out the handicap tomorrow and has had a whacking great rise now. Was raced off 96 at Utoxton, there's 115 here. It might be asking a lot, but Chef de Troupe probably gets an easy lead here tomorrow, and that does make him something of a danger. I was desperate to take on Longhouse Sale here, who's been put in as sort of 7 to 2, one of the 2 joint favourites. There's a string of 1s next to Longhouse Sale's name, but this is by far and away, you know, his biggest test. He's not been in a field this big. It's all small field wins in novice hurdles at very, very cramped odds. And I don't believe for a minute that Foss last speed figure last time either. Even if you do believe it, it still leaves him with something to find. Foss last is throwing up some weird speed figures. I ought to do a piece on that on the punt one day, actually, and I will come around to that, I think. But for me, I thought Longhouse Sale had plenty to prove. Listen, if he's the sort of horse that's up to this task and wins it easy, you know, we might be seeing him in better company come next March. Who knows? But I at 7 to 2, knowing what we know at the moment, I'd want to be taking it on. There was, and similarly, St. Gallen. I get the case a bit more for St. Gallen, you know, who was quite a classy sort. Seems to be refinding his form. Obviously has form at the track as well over Henrietta Bell, and that form's been franked a couple of times by the runner-up. So St. Gallen's a bit harder to knock, but again, 7 to 2 looks, you know, he's been well found in the market. It's not like he's unexposed. So the sort of 2 or 3 I was sort of focusing on that were quite interesting. Legal History is one. Not been out the first 2 in his last 6 starts, and probably should have picked up a valuable hurdle at Newbury in March. Just got touched off by the Notties Tide that day. He came with a withering run, as they say, up the stand rail to sort of nick it late on, and actually was comfortably on top. racing right-handed, next time at Ascot, you just struggle to find an easier handicap winner than that. He was very, very impressive when he beat Scaramanga. He just coasted home, really. And he's done nothing, well, I say nothing really, but run well since then. I won't say he's improving, but he's run well since then in 3 starts. No problem going right-handed. I think some cutting the ground won't be a problem. Good to soft, will be fine. Had a wind up since you've last seen him, and he's got a tongue tail as well tomorrow. Seems a bit versatile in terms of tactics as well. He's been held up before. He's pressed the pace before, so they can do what they want really with Legal History tomorrow. And if there isn't a great deal of pace on, I could see him being the one sort of track Chef de Troupe. I think he's quite interesting. Similarly, just below him in the handicap, Ingleby Hollow as well, who's been running on the flat but was very useful over hurdles last season. Marker 126 is probably getting towards top end of what he's capable of, but I just think it's interesting that they've decided to go down the flat route rather than pop him over hurdles a couple of times. So they're obviously trying to protect that Marker 126 with a big race in mind. It could be this one. It could be this one. And again, won't mind any rain. Has got form on both good to soft and soft on the flat. So he was moderately interesting. And the other, no, just those two. I apologise. Just those two. They were the two, along with Chef de Troupe was the sort of third one that were with the interesting 3. At this stage, as I say, I want to wait and see. I think see what rain falls in the night, and then I'll be making a bit more of a call on it. The 320 is the sort of plate just shy of 2 miles 6 for. If it will be 2 miles 6, it will be over 2 miles 6. Always remember at Market Rasen, you're adding distance because of the way they move the rails out. So this will be nearly, I mean, it's 2 mile 5.5, and it'll be just about a furlong longer than that. So it'll be 2.6.5. I thought this, we're on Henryville. For those of us that are on anti-post, I put Henryville up at 16s on Tuesday with Paddy Power. I wouldn't want too much more rain. Good to soft will be fine. More than that, and I'd start to worry a little bit about Henryville's chances. And again, we've got to sit and wait and see what happens. But he was very, very impressive at Newton Abbot last week. He's not certain to follow that up, of course, he's not. But if Peter Bowen has sweetened him right back up again to what he's capable of, I mean, even off 142, he's capable of winning this, and he will get this run to suit, because unlike the hurdle, there is plenty of pace in this. There's lots of pace in this, and plenty of them will want to get on with it. And Henryville, just sitting out the back and picking them off on that last circuit, and you can see him coming to throw down a challenge between 3 out and 2 out, and hopefully for us that are on at anti-post, he'll go through with it. The ones that I'm sort of looking at as backups at the moment, as possibilities as backups, top one, Pacific de Bone, Nicky Henderson. Now, Nicky's got 2 in the race. He's got this and he's got Casablanca Minx, and neither until last time had massively impressed with their jumping over fences, but both got it together last time, and I think both have chances. Pacific de Bone, I thought, once they clapped the cheek pieces on him last time at Newton Abbot, jumped a whole lot better. And again, I thought you could call him the winner some way out that day. Now, if it's the case that they've now absolutely got it together with Pacific de Bone. Don't forget, I mean, okay, I was wrong. I'm happy to sort of put my hand up and say, yeah, okay, it didn't quite work as I thought it would. But I remember Pacific de Bone coming up against Santini at Cheltenham in a one of the graded races. I can't remember off the top of my head now which one it was. I think it might have been something like a Ballymore trial, something along those lines anyway, back in 2018. And if you'd have asked me at that stage on paddock looks, which was the one that you wanted to be with and which one would go on and be the better horse, I would have happily said Pacific de Bone, who had, plenty of scope about him and always looked like he'd make a chaser. Hasn't quite yet worked out like that, but it could do tomorrow. And if he is the horse that I think he could still be, then he might be able to outclass this lot even off top weight. Again, ground-wise, he's won a couple of times on soft ground, so I don't think it will bother him if there's any rain tomorrow. And I've half an idea that maybe going right-handed might suit him, but we'll see. So All up in the air at the moment. All up in the air. Gautreau Joe I wanted to take on again, another scout I wanted to take on. Never been in love with Gautreau Joe. He's a couple of times he's looked like a short runner, and a couple of times he's looked like he's got ideas of his own as well. He won easily enough here in April, but it's just the sort I could see just not having it tomorrow, not really fancying it, and I'm not really with Gautreau Joe. Gone Platinum's moderately interesting. A 10-year-old winning this. I'm not entirely sure that's... I think 10-year-olds have won this in the past. I think I've got a feeling that I Have Dreamed. I can soon find out for you. Yeah, I Have Dreamed. Yeah, there we go. I Have Dreamed, a 10-year-old, and Brave Spartacus as a 9-year-old have both won this in recent times. So you can win it as a 10-year-old. He's having something of a really good season. This is as good a form as Gone Platinum's ever been in. And the faster they go for more Platinum tomorrow, the happier he will be. If you watch his win over course and distance here in June, he is going nowhere in the back straight, and I mean nowhere. He's beaten all ends up. And then once he turned into the straight, and he sees the winning post, he does an half run on really strongly, and you knew he was always going to get there, and he got there in plenty of time. He actually was a 4-length winner that day. That was off 1:27. He's off 1:33 tomorrow, but Lorcan Williams takes a valuable 5 off of that. And then he had a warm-up over hurdles at Foss a week later, and he ran okay. He ran more or less to his mark again. He's just improving at the age of 10. He really is. And given that he's got course and distance form, I do think he's got a squeak. It'd be one of these, he might just drop himself out completely and sulk and lose interest. They'll go too quick for him and he won't be able to keep up. But if he's there at the end of the back straight within sort of 8 lengths of them, you can see him at worst running on into the places, and if they've gone too quick up front, he might be able to pick a lot of them up. I think he's a moderately interesting one. My nap at Market Rasen, my nap of the day comes in the 5:05. Really do like this horse, and I'll be disappointed if this doesn't go well tomorrow. Real Warrior is the horse in question in the 5:05. He's been putting it around about 5-1 tonight. I'd nearly have him favourite for this. I'd nearly have him favourite. I honestly would. If you watch this horse, go back and have a look at the runs at Southwell and Huntingdon last season. The Southwell run, where he finished within 15 lengths of 2 Swallows at a whopping price, at the time looked a fluke, but it wasn't. You watch him in that match. He was in a match at Huntingdon against LeBroy, Cheltenham winner, and traded odds on in running to beat LeBroy that day. When they turned in, he was going better than LeBroy, and that's because he'd out-jumped him at every fence. His jumping that day at Huntingdon was absolutely bang on. He really jumps for fun, this horse. And as I say, turning in, he's got LeBroy off the bridle and beaten all ends up. And then LeBroy's class, and as we now know, stamina kicks in from 2 out. And then they're not hard on Real Warrior from the last. So the winning distance of 18 lengths is greatly exaggerated. Since then, Doncaster on good ground and Market Rasen over 2.5 here on soft, pulled up on both occasions, wasn't great, has to be said. And then at Southwell, he ran a lot better until his stamina just ran out. What I've been waiting for with this horse, firstly for his mark to come down a bit, because obviously after the LeBroy effort, handicapper decided to chuck him in reasonably high, put him in off 120, which was probably a bit high. He's down to 110 now. And I think tomorrow is absolutely guaranteed an easy lead up front. And I think going right-handed, 2 mile, with a bit of cut in the ground, might be just what this horse needs. I'm sure it is. On top of that, Charlie Pogson, trainer in form. Charlie's last 4 runners, 6 first, second. So the yard are going well too. And look at what this horse has got to beat. It ain't got to beat a lot tomorrow. Witnessing Court, we know all about. He's, a 12-year-old that's fully exposed. He ain't getting any quicker these days. Spiritual Man's very inconsistent, doesn't really want to win a race. Malangan, the bottom one, you can give a chance to on some of his form in the spring, but it's only moderate handicap hurdle form. And Little Stevie's probably the one to beat, who was second over to UJ earlier in the week, but 6-4 looks awfully skinny to me for horse that don't win that often. And I just think Real Warrior tomorrow, this is his chance. If he can get off in front, start pinging fences, ping, 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 I honestly think he's going to be, they won't see which way he's gone. So Real Warrior, I'm quite strong on him tomorrow. Quite strong on Real Warrior. I've already used up 15 minutes, so we better quickly move on to two more that I'm going to mention tonight. Cartmel 305, Candyberg. Mentioned him as an eye catcher after his Worcester effort, where he was as fat as butter in the paddock. Ran okay to a point and then was allowed to come over in his own time. Don't know if he's a bet tomorrow. The yard have also got Wells de Loon, who's 5 from 5 at Cartmel, just that Cartmel is his track. So the yard have also got the favourite in the race, and you'd sort of think that's the one tomorrow. But keep an eye on Candyberg. If there's money around for Candyberg, it'd make him a bit more interesting. And I wouldn't put you off. I mean, he's got a bit of quality about him. But I just get the feeling he's going to need this run as well. I think they've got something planned a bit further down the line with Candyberg, probably back over fences, so might just be a watch and brief tomorrow. Newbury Super Sprint, again, we'll better quickly touch on this. Ventura Spirit. Is Ventura Rebel, I should say, is Ventura Rebel going to go off odds on for the Super Sprint tomorrow? It really would not surprise me if this horse goes off a shade of odds on, 10 to 11, 4 to 5. It honestly wouldn't, because obviously on that Ascot effort, and it was on soft ground, which Newbury is now. She is clearly he is clearly the best horse at the weights, and by some way too. Never works out like that in these sales races though, does it? You often get something at a big price. I have had a bet tonight. I've already bet one. I actually bet this yesterday, and it's for his other runner, Mighty Spirit, who's drawn next door to him in stall 6. We ought to mention the pace. Actually, I looked at the pace angles tonight. There appears to be 2 pockets of pace, as I can see. Stalls 9, 10, 13. Now, they are all drawn together because 11 and 12 were where the reserves were. So 9, 10, 13, you've got 3 there. Audio, Taxiwala, Manolith. You've got Electric Lady, Landor Landlady in stall 4 with some pace. And then there's a pocket of pace high, 22, 23 and 25. Great Dame, Oceano, Cortez and Betty's Hope. So not hard to see them splitting into 2 groups here. I think that's what's going to happen. I would want to be with the lows, I think. And as I say, I think Mighty Spirit drawn 6. You've got to forgive a terrible effort at Beverley last time when she got beaten at 3 on by Living in the Past. That a race she ought to have won on her previous run when she was 6 to Raffle Prize in the Queen Mary. Now that was a really good effort. That was a step up on what she'd done at Newcastle first time up, and it just backed up what she'd done at York. Those 2 runs, the York run and the Ascot run, if she can pull those out the bag, there's every chance that she's going to be in the frame at worst. And if the favourite doesn't run its race, I think certainly she's second or third best to me at these weights. I think she's got a real chance. So you have to forgive a bad one, but the Ascot effort, and that wasn't good to soft ground. There was plenty of cut in the ground that day. The winning, I think it was about 2.5 seconds over standard and if she can repeat that, if she can pull that out, then she's got a chance tomorrow, as I say, in the frame at worst. And you're getting 5 places in 1 or 2. I mean, if she runs a race, she can't be out the 5 if she runs a race. And I say, I think we've got half a chance of copping a lot. I tried to find a couple of bigger prices. Something always slips in the frame at a whopping price here. The only 2 that made any sort of appeal really at sort of big prices, Maybelline, the 23 horse of George Scott's, who I saw on debut at Windsor. Scopy sort, I think will cope with the ground, has run to the same level twice, needs to step up on that here. But I've got a feeling that soft ground might, I have it in my head that she is a galloping type and the softer ground might suit her. She's had a break since we've last seen her, that might do her good as well. She's generally a 40 chance tonight. I'd want bigger than that, to be honest. And similar comments apply to Daddy's Diva, the 25 horse, who I saw win on soft ground at Nottingham back in May. Hosed up that day on soft ground, really ploughed through it, and she did look like she wanted soft ground. So I'm happy to forgive the Pontefract effort on quicker ground next time. At Bath last time, it was Bath good to soft. I'm not sure it was that soft, and again, didn't run to form. If she can put up the Nottingham efforts where she's run second and won on her 2 starts, I think those efforts give her a chance again of sort of getting in the 5, and that's what I'm sort of looking at here. But again, 40 to 1, I'd want I'd want bigger. I'd want 50 as a minimum, really, for these sort of horses. I think 40s is a little bit on the tight side for Maybelline and Daddy's Diva, but they're the sort of the pair at the bigger prices, the really big prices that made some appeal. I've ranted on for 20 minutes, too long tonight, guys. I'm sorry to keep you. Best bet tomorrow, by a million miles, Real Warrior in that 505. Fancy that quite strongly. Probably my strongest bet I've had for a week or two, so here's hoping. Best of luck with all your bets tomorrow. I'll be back on Tuesday. Thank you very much.